So this is a new year. Happy New Year. Hadn't seen you guys in a year. And Allie told me that joke wasn't going to go anywhere, so I should listen to her. And with that being said, the season that we are in is perfect for us to rebrand our church. Now, as you all are aware, we don't know where that space is going to be. We talked about that earlier. And we are changing our name to Greater Purpose Community Church instead of Garfield Park Community Church. We need a name that's flexible with our location, a name that captures the mission and values of this church. Plus, we like to save money where we can, and this allows us to keep the gpsantacruz.com website address and gpcc@santacruz@gmail.com email address, because we're kind of cheap sometimes. But what I'm really excited about is not necessarily the name change. It's this new opportunity that we have. You see, in the next year, we are getting consultations to do this philanthropub, for lack of a better term. And it's going to be an eatery and a brewery similar to this space. And we're going to open during the week, and we're going to split our profits from the business with running the business and local charities here in Santa Cruz, and then use the space on Sunday mornings for worship. I think it's a really innovative idea. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback about this. Stay tuned. It's not going to be done overnight. We're not pulling the trigger on this in 2 weeks because we want to make sure that our business plan is airtight. This is why we pay our big bucks right here too, by the way. So we want to make sure the business plan is airtight. Bar is open. And we want to make sure that this model is going to work and that we've got a good location. So stay tuned. I'm really excited about this. We will have the Greater Purpose Community Church on Sundays and the Greater Purpose Brewing Company during the week. So newness. A fresh start. And if you're like me, when things appear as if they are changing for the better, like how I feel this church is going to be this year, you might have a tendency to set your hopes really high. You might think to yourself, when you move into a new stage of life or a new season, things will finally be better at this job or this year, or when I make this move. It's going to be smooth sailing from here. Y'all, I'm 33 years old, and the fact that I have not learned that struggle will be present in every facet of life is beyond me. Let me give you an example. Before we sold the church, Allie and I have been looking for 6 months to buy a home. You see, Allie and I were paying close to $3,500 a month in rent. And knowing the rental market doesn't appear like it's going to be shrinking in cost, Allie and I decided to cash out of her retirement, this is mostly her decision, so we could put a down payment on a house. Would have liked to have stayed in Santa Cruz, but we ended up in Ben Lomond because it's way cheaper out there. Now, the process of buying a house is stressful. Has anybody here ever been involved with any real estate transactions at all? Has anybody enjoyed that process at all? Yeah, I don't think it's fun. But living in an apartment complex where people like to party that are half our age and they like to trash the parking lot was kind of getting old too. And that's because, I'm getting old. I'm getting too old for that stuff. I can't hang no more, y'all. So on top of not being able to hang, we had things breaking all the time in this apartment that we were paying tons of money for a month. We had to have maintenance guys over constantly to fix leaks and appliances. And the moment that we closed on this house, Allie and I thought to ourselves, it's all uphill from here. Literally, it's uphill. We live on the top of a mountain. But seriously, we thought life is going to get easy now. Life's going to get easy. Y'all, within 1 month of being in this house, we had to drop an extra $3,000 in undisclosed electrical and plumbing issues, which wiped out all of our savings. And one of our cats was so freaked out in the move that she urinated in the AC vents of the home and all over our guest bedroom and totally ruined our covers and our mattress, and we had to replace that. And then a couple weeks after that, our septic tank had some major issues potentially. Luckily, they seemed to have resolved themselves. And we had to fix all of these things. And so, and on top of that, we had to fix our stairs. Our stairs were peeling up, and we have lots of stairs in our house because it's a mountain home, and we couldn't afford to pay anybody. So guess who had to fix those stairs, right? This guy. So if you come over to my house, you're going to have to sign a waiver and watch your step, man, because I'm not going to be responsible. I fixed those. I know they're not dirty. In short, what I'm trying to tell you is that we were wrong. You see, stress didn't magically disappear because we had this change of location. And because I now have a mortgage instead of a lease. The same thing is true when we sold our church building. When we sold our church building, I remember Kristen and I saying, thank God. We don't have to deal with the stress of maintenance anymore. We don't have to deal with people trashing our property anymore. Well, just this morning, we had issues with the screen. Our new portable equipment has had some issues getting put together. We're 1 month behind on getting it. Our new logos for the church took way longer to design than we were told. So on and so on and so forth. Struggles continue amidst change. And this is going to be true for every one of you in 2018. A new calendar does not change the nature of our existence. But what happened to that stress-free life that Joel Osteen and people like him are talking about? Like, where is that? God, when does this mess stop? Where is this peace that surpasses all understanding that we have been promised, that we have been told is in the Bible? Y'all, I hate to break it to you. It don't exist. At least not the way that we tend to think of a peaceful existence. You see, the scriptures do not promise a new life devoid of difficult circumstances. The scriptures actually tell us how to manage our expectations about life and to find calmness and serenity despite difficulties that surround us or circumstances that we may encounter that are going to be stressful. And this is important to discuss this time of year because in our culture we find ourselves in this season of resolution and expectation about the coming year. We think to ourselves that changing our body by making a commitment to lose weight or to gain muscle or to save up this year to buy that product or that car, or we're going to finish getting that diploma, that somehow, if we just achieve these goals, that is going to bring us fulfillment and remove stress. How long before the fruits of our newness, after we get that diploma, after we lose that weight, how long will that newness wash away before we find ourselves stressed again and looking for some other antidote to soothe the tyranny of this chaotic world that we live in? In other words, this new year, new you concept, new year, new you, it's a lie, y'all. Same shit, different day, it might be more appropriate. And with that being said, what's the point? What's the point of life if we're going to encounter difficulties? Should we all look at the world through the lens of indifferent nihilism? Nothing matters, so why should we care? Should we not have ambitions and dreams and aspire to be more or better, to create more for those suffering around us? If we're going to continue to be stressed out and they're going to continue to experience stress, is there no such thing as peace? Let's see what the wisdom of the text says about this. Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 13. You may know this verse because it's in a song. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to end, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear down and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to stand up. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Now, most of you know this passage, or at least have heard the classic song which used this verse and rearranged it musically. The song was by the Byrds, by the way, not the Beatles. That drives me nuts when people say it was by the Beatles. But you may not have read the following passages or have heard that before. Verse 9 says this: "What do workers gain from their toil?" In other words, what's the point? Verse 10 says, "I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race." In Hebrew, this passage, the word in this passage for burden is la-chnot. Now say that with me. Come on, you can do better than that. Note. Very good. And it means the feeling after you are exhausted with work that was meaningless. Have you ever went to work and put in a full day, just 99 miles an hour, only for it to be pointless? Only for you to have more difficulties? Have you ever had that feeling at your job? Raise your hands if you have. Yeah. You've all had that. Like, what did I go to work for today? I killed myself for nothing. Like an ant that builds a hill only to have it knocked over every day. That's what that word is talking about. Verse 11 says this. It says, "God, our Creator, has made everything beautiful in its time. God has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end." Meaning this life is frustrating and it doesn't make sense for the same crap to keep happening, and it's beyond our understanding why it keeps going. But verse 12 says this: "I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live. That each of them, each of you, may eat and drink and find satisfaction in their toil. This is the gift of God." See, ancient Hebrew people believed that the entirety of the life experience is sacred and holy, including those things that complicate our lives in this world. You see, the idea in this passage isn't to remove struggle from your life, nor does the Bible promise that you will be able to remove struggling from your life. You can't remove struggle. The foundational principle in natural selection is struggle. Species struggle to survive, and over time, the struggle leads to adaptation, and the species that can adapt survive, and the ones that can't adapt to change and stress perish. It is a scientific fact that stress, chaos, and complications will occur in our lives. You cannot remove stress from life. You cannot escape it with products that you save up for. You cannot avoid it with weight loss or life goals. No matter who you are, in varying degrees, we will be stressed. Even if you achieve your goals. Some more than others, because of privilege. I want to acknowledge that, but that's another sermon. But in this life, you're going to know pain. The Bible actually says this: in this life, you will know pain. And I guarantee you that we can chase that new job, that new look that we've been trying to get. Getting back into those pants, we can chase those ones we wore in high school. We can seek that new car, that new job. We can move across the country, and it will not change the reality of life. At some point, difficulty is going to come and knocking at your door. No matter what job you have or how much you weigh, you will know pain no matter where you work. The point is not to attempt to take away a stressful circumstance. Faith teaches us to not allow these difficulties to steal our joy. Chase your dreams, but know that no matter what direction you run, you're going to fall, and that's okay. We all fall. Get back up again, finish the race. You're going to fall whether you run that race or not, I guarantee you. Fight for justice, even if it means that we won't see the fruit of our labor in the immediate future or in this lifetime. Embrace that struggle, but find joy in knowing that you are on the right side of history. Get healthy if you want, but changing your appearance, and I can say that as a guy that struggled with my weight my whole life, changing your appearance won't change how you feel about yourself. You got to embrace and love who you are, no matter what you look like. And you got to feel sexy, because damn it, everybody in here is awesome. All of you are awesome right now. Now for the church, let's continue to get excited about this new mission in the future as a church. But let's accept that this new venture, that sounds amazing, is going to come with its own set of issues. But let's find joy in the adventure. Because adventures are going to have complications, right? Like, think about this. The one thing that good stories have in common is struggle. The Hobbit would have been so dull without a gigantic, oppressive dragon. Game of Thrones would be so boring if winter never came. And Star Wars would have zero appeal if the Empire laid back. The scriptures tell stories of people that experienced the best and the worst of life. And the point of these stories was never to make you believe that a life without seasons of turmoil and disappointment is possible. And if anybody has told you that, they lied to you. The message of the scripture is to find balance, acceptance, peace, joy that surpasses all understanding, no matter where the winds of change blow. That is what it means to find peace in the scriptures. I guarantee you that our heroes in history were no different. If you think that Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and Gandhi, amazing people, didn't know struggle, then I'm going to say you were probably wrong. And now on the other side of their dedication and their success and their movements to achieve their goals, and that we're still fighting for today, these people are going to be forever celebrated. But don't think for one instant that their life did not have pain. So maybe it's time that we stop trying to escape these difficulties and just embrace ours as the reality of life. So may we seek newness and embrace unforeseen circumstance. May we find balance in the certainty of uncertainty, and find our center to achieve our goals, despite how complicated things become. Grace and peace to you. Now, at this time, we're going to take communion at your tables. You have bread, you have juice. And what we invite you to do is to participate in the service. Because in the Disciples of Christ, we believe in the priesthood of all believers. We believe that everyone here is just as significant as the staff, as the pastor. So we're going to invite you to share the elements with one another. And I'm going to lead you through breaking the bread and sharing the cup. You see, Jesus was stressed out for 40 days. For 40 nights. The Bible actually says that Jesus bled sweat. Or sweat blood. He was so stressed. And I believe that during this dinner, Jesus knew what was going down. He was probably a little stressed out. But Jesus found joy in the company of his community. And he took bread, and he said, "This is my body. And it's going to be broken. It's going to be torn in two. And that's going to be painful. But this is for a greater purpose. And I find peace in that. So take and eat, and as often as you do so in remembrance of me." So if you would all take the bread and rip it pass it to one another. And everyone here is welcome to take communion, regardless of your faith identity. But don't dip it just yet. Because Jesus took wine and he poured it into a cup. And he said, this is my blood. And it symbolizes a new promise. Take and drink, and as often as you do, do so in remembrance of me. And if you would, pass the cup around and dip the bread into the cup. And take the elements. Now, on their own, these elements are just bread and juice. There's nothing significant about them spiritually. Taking this today isn't going to assure your place in the afterlife. What they symbolize is incredibly powerful. It is a promise to continue the mission of Jesus. And if you think that that mission isn't going to be stressful at times, I want to squash that. It is. But it can be powerful, and we can find peace, and we can find solace with one another. So go forth and do likewise. If you would all recite this prayer with me, if you're comfortable. I think it's a powerful prayer. Our Creator, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.